Hello, hello, hello. Mic test. Mic test. So, guys, welcome to the 74th edition of the Trading Opportunities. And okay, I have left microphone on here. Well, at least that confirms that the audio is working. Let me check that one more time over here. Let me check that one more time over here. Yep, everything is working fine. So, guys, finally, welcome to the 74th edition of the Trading Opportunities webinar. This is Nirav, your host, and we will be discussing a lot of markets today. But before we proceed with anything at all, let me just run down the legal stuff here on screen. As you can see, the disclaimer suggesting all content presented here is purely for educational purposes. I'm not soliciting buy sell. If you go on to use the views presented here for your trading, investing, or any other purpose, you yourselves will be liable for your profit, your loss, or loss of profit. Right. With the legalities out of the way, let me just give you a very quick introduction, and let me see if I can do one thing here. See the live chat. Yep. So if you are live in the chat, then of course don't forget to say hi, hello. And if not, and if you are watching it as a recording, of course you can say that in the comments. And let me just run down the introduction part. So, guys, as you know, my name is Nirav. I'm the admin and owner of 50eyes.com website and 50eyes market analysis YouTube channel, where this broadcast is currently broadcasted live alongside LinkedIn, of course. And we are currently doing these trading opportunities webinar series. This is the 74th webinar in that series, and what we do here is discuss all the major markets, including crude, gold, S&P, Nifty 50, Bitcoin, Euro USD, from a complete price action perspective, basically using advanced Elliott Wave concepts to see where these markets are going. And within the last 72 webinars, we have been able to figure out 101 trades in these live webinars. Actually, I have spotted them and I pointed out where is the entry, exit, etc., etc. And what we discussed in the 73rd webinar, if it worked out, if it did not work out, whatever happened, we will see today in the 74th edition. Right, so that's about it for this webinar series. And those of you who don't know, we go live at 2 p.m. GMT, 7:30 p.m. IST. You can just convert that to your time zone, and we go live every Friday. Right. So that's about it for the webinar. As far as other work of mine are concerned, I'm also the author of the book Think with the Markets, which is available on Amazon, as you can see over here. And I have been keeping a track record of all the forecasts I've made over the years. 2016 accuracy, 2017 80 plus, 87% something, 84%, 2018. Yeah, you get the point, right? I have industry leading track record of 80% plus accuracy, which is publicly verifiable. I have not seen anyone else do it or have such a big track record, so I like to show it off. And that's about it for introduction. Of course, lastly, you can just go and check it at 50s.com / forecast accuracy. And I'll talk about it more in the webinar. But for those of you who are not keeping a track, the Slack group is now out of beta and it is open for people to join in. And currently, I have still not made what do you call a separate page for it. So I'm thinking of continuing to keep it request only. So if you are interested, you can just contact me using the 50s.com / contact dash us page. Type in your name, email, and subject matter as details for Slack group, and I'll revert to you. Now let's head over to the actual webinar and see what the markets are doing. One thing I should have pointed out, the way we proceed with this webinar is, first of all, I'll go and discuss Euro USD, followed by oil, gold, S&P, Nifty, and lastly Bitcoin. If you are live, you can also, that is, if you are live in the YouTube chat or LinkedIn chat, you can also ask me questions. So first of all, here on screen, we have the chart of Euro USD. What we seem to be having on this chart is triangle progression, which I should point out before we proceed with the current analysis. So as you can see here, we have, let me squeeze it and see if we can have more details. Yes. So from this point of reference, around 0.95408, date is around 28 September 2022. We have a possible A up, B down, and C up progression. Now it could be counted in a few different ways, but what I have taken it over here is as a possible A up followed by a triangle for B and then another leg up for C. Now, why am I pointing it out will soon become clear. This is the triangle B, and these are the trend lines on the actual chart. Now, as you can see, the market is actually taking support right at the trend line, like literally it is reversing from the trend line. So this is a classical price action kind of setup. Market comes back to the previous support in this case being, let me just mark it. This is the A of the triangle, the B wave of the triangle, the C, D and E. For those of you who don't know, the triangle always have five A, B, C, D, E. They are marked, and the BD trend line is the one which is the one we are looking at for support. And the market so far has shown us that it is respecting that level. So this gives us an idea for a possible long setup on this counter. Now, of course, the market could have given a temporary or what do you call short-term support here. That opportunity is gone. That would have been an aggressive play, but this is if this is not a short-term support and if the market is going to continue up from here like this, then I am going to enter longs around 1.1126. Just write that down as well. So around that level, I'll be interested in adding longs. The stop loss will be this low, which is actually coming around 1.0939. So this is my current idea of trade on this counter. And if the trade works out, then the targets should be very big because in that case, this will just be the wave one up. This will be the wave two down. So if this works out, then this will be the wave three, which is supposedly the biggest progression in the, which should be the biggest progression in this series, right? So definitely looking forward to this, and this is something I'm keeping a track of. I don't think there's much to add here. Of course, if you have any doubts or questions, you can just push them in the live chat. Next, let's head over to crude oil, where I have a trade which I just placed right before the webinar. Let me just discuss what's going on and why I decided to go short on this counter. Firstly, let's just squeeze the chart and see what's going on over here. This is our point of reference. The price level is 66.932 and the date is 28 June 2023. From this point of reference, the count is like this. We think that this is a wave one, this is a wave two, this is a three, this is a four, and we are in the fifth up, right? Let me remove everything. So as we know already in Elliott Wave terminologies, this is an impulse progression. An impulse will always have five waves inside of it. The one which goes up is called a one, then a correction for two, the three which goes up again in the direction of the trend, correction for four, and fifth wave. Now, if this is actually the fifth wave, then we can see a big correction which can or not can, it should generally go to the wave four level and possibly even lower. So keeping that in mind, I had entered a short trade over here, right? And the reasoning is that it looks to me like this is the three again. Let me just. It looks to me like the fifth wave is complete, right? How am I saying that? I'm saying it based on my counts from this wave four low. Right? Now the issue is that we do not yet have a confirmation. What do I mean by confirmation? A confirmation would be when this market has gone below this green trend line and sustained below it, like something like this kind of a price action. So that will be what we call a confirmation. If it sustains below this green trend line and then breaks this low, then that is what we call a confirmation sell. However, as you can see, it will be taking some time to do that if it is really doing that. So I entered shorts. Second reason for entering shorts is that without confirmation, the stop losses are very small. So my stop loss is currently over here, 88.26. So if it goes above that, it will probably not probably it will of course close the positions, right? And it does look like it may not work out, but let's leave it at that, right? So let's see what this market is doing and what will be the future trade setups. So first of all, for entering shorts, as I said very clearly, confirmation, we need to see a break below the green trend line, right? And interestingly, if this trade to the short side, which I am in right now, does not work out, then it will be suggesting that it is going to go up. And in which case, I would like to enter longs above 80.53. So above or near the high, 80.53 is very near to the high. The idea would be to add quick scalps and trade the market to the upside. The reason for that is that if a good looking short setup is not working out, then that means we can reverse the position. Basically, what I'm saying is that if a strong reasoning to the downside is not working out, then the market has some upside remaining. Simple enough. So that will be the setups on crude oil upside. Again, keep in mind, I do not expect it to be going heavily up. I don't know what the exact target would be. I personally will be doing quick scalps near the highs, but I do not expect it to go and fly to a very, very high level because, as I said, the impulse does look like it may have completed. So all upside will be limited, and downside, once it opens up, once it confirms, will have more potential for profits, as per my understanding right now. So that's about it for crude oil. And I think I should have probably seen what I said in the last webinar, which was conducted on 21st of July. One second. So let me just check. Or what I'll do is I'll check afterwards and push the whatever happened, or if it did not happen over the YouTube thing. There's something I've done on YouTube. Let me just show you what that is. So from now on, you can navigate through my YouTube videos very easily because now it shows everything on the timeline. Look at that. When I point the mouse or the timeline, it says gold. When I point it on S&P at around 23, it says SPX went up precisely as per analysis. When I point it on at after 29, then it says Nifty upside target achieved and so on and so forth. So it creates these blocks. I was not aware of how to achieve them. I was just adding them as timestamps, but I learned the proper method and now you can navigate very quickly. So what I'm saying is that if we discuss the proper analysis on crude and it worked out, you will see it like crude oil brackets worked out as per analysis or something like that. So that way you will know that we are also tracking what we said in the last webinar. Quite neat and very handy, I would say. That was a very quick thing. Yeah, while I was talking about all that stuff which was unrelated, just to point out, guys, do keep sharing the content. We definitely need to get more views to keep the webinar sustainable. Right. Once the webinar is complete, do not forget to hit the like and share it in your WhatsApp, Slack, Discord, or Telegram, or whatever you guys are using these days among your trader friends or communities. That being said, coming back to the point, now let's head over to our analysis of gold. So gold, what I'm seeing over here from, let's just take a shorter point of reference. So from this point, which is the price level around 1987, date 28th July 2023, what I'm seeing here is a corrective structure in play. Now, see, when the market corrects, it corrects in three wave structures. So A, B, and C. Could be a zigzag, could be a flat, doesn't really matter. It is called a three wave structure. Yes, the patterns are different, but in this case, it's not a issue. So see, if the market has corrected, it will be labeled as an A down, a B up, and a C down. However, if it has gone down as an impulse, it will be labeled a 1 down, 2 up, 3 down, 4 up, and 5 down. The important thing to notice is that till the point of C, they both are literally the same. Why am I pointing out? It will become soon clear. Now, if we look at it, the minimum point where both of them behave the same is here, and it has already completed. So the point here is that the minimum possible safe movement is already complete, right? Since the minimum possible safe move is already complete, I'm not looking to sell short right away. Let's see what the setups are at this point and how to proceed. Two things can be happening. If the market really was in a correction and it is complete, then it can just fly high from here. But I do not think that is going to be that simple. And if it is going to be like that, then I like to become aware of it around 1967. So that is above 1965 to 1967. Between this zone, I'll look to consider long opportunities. Right now, if the long opportunities are going to be considered here, that basically means short is my basically the current thought process. So how will we look for it? So we'll be looking for shorts or new shorts within this white resistance zone, which is between 1961 to 1965. Let me just type that in. Right, so within this resistance zone, I think the market can give us a reversal signal, and once a reversal signal is there, I'll be looking for possible sell setups. Right, count perspective wise, we can say that this is possibly the one of the C. Let's say dot one. Maybe the dot two is here, and maybe the dot three, dot four, and dot five. Right. So count perspective: A down, B up, and C down. This is what we will be considering this market's progression as. Right, and level perspective, we already have the level where we will start looking for shorts. Nothing much to add on gold here. I think the strategy is very clear here. Let me just move quickly to S&P's 500. A little bit of update I have given here to the counts. It does look like we have an impulse which started over here. Price level 4106 roughly speaking, and date is 24th of May 2023. And it looks like the impulse which started here has already completed the 5 waves, or possibly have completed the 5 waves. Right now, if it has done that, let's see what is the current progression like. So if it has done that, then this diagonal count, which is looking actually weird, maybe the ending of the move. But now there's another issue which I just saw, because when I did this count, there was no such issue present. Generally, what we like to see is the market respecting this trend line, right? Now, in this particular case, the market has gone back inside the trend line, which is not a good sign. If the market had to continue the downward movement, then we would have expected it to remain lower than this yellow trend line. Right, of course, it can just give a spike that is reversed very quickly from here, in which case it is still a valid short progression. If it does not do that, then I'll be interested in taking longs near the high, at least above 4600. I would wait for the market to cross 4600 and then look for longs. Right. As far as shorts are concerned, as I did mention very clearly, first we need to see the market below the white trend line, and conservative players we will need to wait for the red trend line. Let me just show you where that is. So I'm using the 2 and 4 lows for constructing this red trend line. Here is the 2 low. Here is the 4 low, and I have already placed the alert. You can see this timer over here. So once the market goes below the red trend line, then and then only we will have a confirmation for shorts. As long as we do not have that, any short entry is what you call risky or aggressive is the proper word. Long story short, red trend line, we wait for it to be broken to downside. Sell setups 4600, we wait for it to be taken to the upside. For long setup, I currently don't have any position on this counter. Now let's head over to our next analysis of Nifty 50. And yeah, before we move forward, guys, if you are finding the content useful, I would request that you share it with your friends, colleagues, or your trading groups in Slack, Discord, Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever you guys use. It is definitely required at this point, and we need as many views as possible to grow our audience here. That being said, here's Nifty, and let me just show you what's going on over here. So this leg down, I was actually able to capture it for the better part. Like a lot of trades I did on the downside over here, catching the downward movement. I'm not sure if we discussed that in the webinar. Oh, actually, we did discuss that. So we discussed this whole setup in our last two webinars. We were able to capture this short as well, by the way. I think in the last webinar, we discussed that below the orange trend line, it is a sell setup. And then there was the spike, which also confirmed that the market is respecting this trend line, this orange trend line, right? So it further validated our sell setup. Later on, I'm not sure if I discussed that in a public webinar or not. This move, pull back and then down. But this was caught in our private Slack group updates. And this was actually a very nice setup. First of all, the market reversed from the 50-60 retracement zone, as you can see, or the resistance zone, let's say. The market did try to go up above the zone, but as you can see, it was not able to sustain above it with this spike, right? It could only form a spike here. That is, selling pressure came in and the market fell back into the zone and went lower, right? So that was something we were able to capture. Now let's see what is the current progression on this counter. I personally think that this market is possibly having some downside still remaining. Now there is some, I mean, it is not as clear as that. Reason being that if this is the A in the ABC progression, then either the B is here and this is the C complete, or the B is probably continuing sideways like a flat. So this could be the A of the B of the B, and C of the B. So what I'm saying is that this wave B is going on and making on a possible flat correction, right? In which case we can see this market go sideways for a bit. How will we see that? This was the A. So we will see this market do something like this. And then only over here will the new sell-off come in play. So this is what I'm saying. It can go up before the further down leg comes into play, right? So of course, I'm interested in taking those trades, and I'll be tracking this leg up and seeing if we see a reversal or not. And I do not have the data points right now to completely tell you where will the reversal happen. I can give some rough targets, like somewhere within this range, but that's way too broad, like 18,710 to 18,750, 60. Somewhere here, I think the market can reverse if it is still in that, still in this progression. Right. So long story short, I'll be looking for possible reversals around 18,750, and just in case the market does not have the time or the patience to go there, I'll just place an alert over here for the downside. Lastly, one second. Lastly, if the market takes out the way high, of course, then I'll be interested in longs, in which case we will consider that the B was over here, and C was over here, and then this market can continue up. Nothing much to add here. So let's now head over to our last chart of Bitcoin. And before I do that, let me just very, very quickly go and show the Slack group that we have. 1 second. So there it is, our Slack group. What I'm showing over here is that how we work or the actual flow of things here. These are all the channels: Bitcoin, Crude, Euro, etc., etc. What I go about doing is, other than just posting my analysis, I also post my trades. Booked about 80% profits on longs, remaining moved stop loss. And this was a trade I took yesterday on crude oil. So I also post the counts. I also post a commentary. Sometimes the commentary is big, sometimes it's small. I try to keep it as small as possible. And entry and exits, of course, whenever I take the profit or the loss, or if a stop loss is hit or a profit target is hit, then I also post that trail hit, all longs closed in profits, etc., etc. So this is something we do for all instruments. And in July itself, this is the fourth week. So within these 4 weeks, 2 weeks, we have had all winning trades. Like there were zero losers literally. So those were last week and last week we had literally zero losing trades. Of course, I place all the trades here, like whatever I'm taking, like 99% of the trades I post here. Maybe one or two minor scalps may remain, but most importantly, I also post my account performance here, which of course has all the trades we took with timestamps and everything. Right. So I'm keeping a very good system here, and the workflow is as simple as you can expect. And if you want to become a part of this Slack group, then I think I did talk about it at the start of the webinar, but here it is again. You can contact me using the contact us page. Just type the subject matter as details for Slack group, and I'll get back to you on that. So that's about it for our quick look at the Slack or the private membership. And now let's proceed with our last chart, which is the chart of Bitcoin. Actually, there has not been any real progress on BTC count, but still, let's just quickly have a look at it. So here is the chart of BTC. As you can see, our count, which should be discussed here, comes from the point of reference at 31467. Date is 23rd of June 2023. My count is that this is an A down, a B up, and possibly progressing as a C down. Of course, it can be looked at as a complex as well, but we don't really care at this point. The main theme here is that we are looking for two major things. First is this white support zone. If the market does come inside this white support zone, then we'll start looking for reversals to the upside, right? That's one thing I'm looking for. Second thing that I'm looking for on this counter is that if the market takes out exact level, let's just show. The exact level is 32,200. So if the market goes above that, then I'll be looking for long trades. So currently there is no action on this market. I'm not taking any trades on it whatsoever. Perhaps around this level I might become active, 28,520 something. But right now it's completely silent. So that's about it for our quick discussion on BTC. And lastly, before I leave, again, I request that if you found the content useful, make sure you share it, right? Definitely, we need more views, and hit the like button, subscribe. And lastly, as I discussed, if you want to get quick updates via our Slack post, then you can, of course, contact me using the contact us page. You will find the link for that in the YouTube's description column. So that's about it for the webinar, guys. Thanks for joining in, and I'll see you in the next one.